So I've just put in the call on this on the cell phone app, and here is our here's our friend.
Okay, why don't you try that? Okay,
It's going to come right up to you, John, but it's okay. It's not going to touch you.
Here I am. Please choose the tray where dishes are placed and enter your table number.
There is our unit.
And what did you say we called it?
So it is called a BellaBot. It is sold by a company in Edmonton, Alberta called Greenco Robots. And it is basically a server assistant. It will basically provide those extra hands that servers need at critical and busy times. It will be able to enhance their abilities in a sense, where the average server can carry 2 trays. That's the most I do it at a time. Some are great, they can do 3 or 4 if it's working out just right. But now we can take 8 at least, plus what they're able to carry in one trip. And it's gonna cut down all those extra trips between the kitchen and our customers, basically enhancing the amount of time that our servers have available to attend to the needs of our customers. So that's kind of its primary function. It's also great in clearing tables once the customers have left. Again, you're looking at 3 or 4 trips to the kitchen from a table that's been used, and that can be reduced to 1 trip for up to 2 or 3 tables, just depending on the amount of dishes on each one. So it really can bring efficiency is kind of the overall role. Yeah.
So is the plan then to have the server accompany the robot to the table?
That is the ideal. Ideally, we want to have the guests still be served the food by a human being. That's going to be our goal. There are other brands that do have a model where the customer will take their own food off the unit. That's not the way we intend to use it in this brand, but we'll roll with the circumstances, I guess you'd say.
It looks like a pussycat.
It does have a cat design.
Nice. Stop touching my ears, meow. Pat me on the head.
So it can be interactive. The kids like it. It's got that cat personality, and it's not always. It's just like a cat. It's not always happy. Like if I keep touching its ears, eventually, see there, it'll get upset. So if I,
as long as you're happy.
Okay, so there we go. So now it's starting to get upset. There we go. Now it's mad.
I still have work to do. Stop it. Yeah.
Do those trays come out from sterilizing?
Yeah. The pads on them are detachable and go through the washing machine, and then the rest of it is wiped down with sanitizing cloth. Yeah.
You can carry 8 orders. 8 plates.
Yeah. You can get 2 of the full-size plates per tray. There's 4 trays, and you can program it to go to multiple tables. So you can put the order, say for this table we're at right now, you could have it on the first 2, and say the order for another table was up at the same time. We can load the other 2 trays. It'll indicate, okay, when it gets here, it'll show lit up in blue that okay, the food on these trays is for the table we're at right now. Indicating basically, leave the others alone, and then once those are unloaded, it'll continue on to its other destination. When it is completely unloaded, once it detects it's completely unloaded, within 5 seconds, it'll begin its trip back to the kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you know in advance it's someone's birthday, this can be programmed to welcome happy birthday to the
Absolutely.
customer.
Yeah. It's able to give a personalized birthday experience to our guests. It has that a mode that's exactly
Please
for
choose
that
the tray where dishes are placed
for that
and
particular
enter your
purpose.
table
So
number.
what we would
Two.
do is we'd put our complimentary dessert on the tray and we'd send it to the table, and then it's going to sing for them, and of course it's going to have the lights going in an augmented way to its normal functioning. So for example here, we'll say this table right here has got the birthday, and I would turn the volume up before I sent it, but so there it's singing, and the lights are going, and there's the message on the back there.
So these robots exclusive to Boston Pizza, or you're bringing this in on your own, or?
So they're not exclusive to Boston Pizza. They are supplied to other brands in Canada presently as well. When we first inquired about demoing the robot, there were 15 Boston Pizzas in Canada that were also either demoing them, or I believe they had purchased them and integrated them into their ongoing operations. And so I don't know if we're the 16th or what number we are exactly, but we're kind of on the earlier edge, I guess you'd say. So there, it's trying to return to the kitchen now, so I just
Please choose the tray where
keep
dishes
her here,
are placed
but,
and enter your... It feels itchy. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's gonna improve our efficiency and be a very useful tool for our staff.
So you're obviously hoping to implement this right away as a test.
Yeah. So we have it. We've had it in service since Monday. It's been used fairly regularly. The staff are kind of catching on as to how it can make their job a little easier, make them a little more effective. I think it already, as of a couple days ago already, it had driven 3 kilometers in making tracks around this building.
What's the customer reaction to it?
It's generally pretty positive. I'd say about 80% are really thrilled and intrigued by it, and then you've got another breakdown of a smaller subset of folks that aren't sure about it, and a marginal group that aren't happy about it, but it's generally a pretty positive reaction. Yeah.
I'm sure that the kids are quite mesmerized with it.
The children definitely are in awe of it. They're amazed when they first see it, and they're thrilled especially when their desserts arrive, custom delivered by robotic technology. Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience for children.
And potentially you've got it on trial for 3 weeks, and this is the first week.
That's right. Yeah, we're looking to demo it for about 3 weeks, and then we'll have a look at how it's assisted our operation, see where it breaks down our efficiencies, and if it's a wise decision moving forward, we'll look at it at that point. Yeah.
What's the reaction from the staff?
Generally pretty positive. Actually, spanning from generally positive to extremely excited, especially among some of the younger staff. They have very quickly identified where it can improve their efficiency, especially, as I mentioned earlier, the clearing of tables and just all the numbers of trips of taking dishes back. And when you can get that thing loaded, send it, you didn't even need to make one trip, and now you're out there, you're doing the sanitizing, and the dishwashing staff, they're back there unloading it. So you didn't even make one trip with it in that particular instance. You've been out here the whole time. So that's where it really shines, and then they've caught on to that pretty quickly.
Is there a long learning curve for the staff?
Not at all. No. It's extremely user friendly. I believe it operates on a Android operating system platform, so it's very similar to a cell phone, a smartphone, and it's also controllable by a cell phone app If it's not busy with another job, you can use your cell phone app to summon it to any location in the building that you want it to come to load it up and send it back. So
not only in the restaurant, but in the other area of the business as
yeah,
well.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it functions on the lounge side, it functions on the restaurant side, and we even have the back of house programmed if we need down the road, if we can think of more uses for it, for moving items between the prep counter and the storage area, or from the bar cooler up to the stocking the bar. There's all sorts of potential. So we've mapped the entire building, and it's there to be used. Yeah.
You won't want to send it home.
yeah. It's definitely filling a need. We see good usefulness for it, and I mean, one of the things that they say at Greenco Robots is that human beings invented robots so that human beings don't have to be robotic. So basically, if it's taking some of the more robotic parts of our job off of our plate, then it's freeing up our time to be more human, is kind of the philosophy that we're looking to see it fill. Yeah.
Andrew, from a more mature background, what's your feelings about using technology?
I'm a little slower learning than our younger staff, because our younger staff, while they get that app on their phone and right away they realize that they can see if it's busy. If it's not busy, there's some tables beside them that can be cleared, so they can call it over there and load it up, and like Riordan said, they can start cleaning it up. They have more time for their guests, so more time for their guests means they might be able to do a few more tables in an evening, and so as we get busier, so I can see the value in it, because it's sort of augmenting the labor force that we have, because quite often, you know, the servers are running around and somebody's kind of waving them down and they're going, oh, just a second, and you watch them again. And this sort of takes that out of it. It can do part of their work for them. So I actually see some pretty good wisdom in this thing. I mean, we wanted to give it a really, really good trial so that we were not sort of not trying it. And the early part of this trial, it looks really, really positive. So I'm a little slower at that, being a little bit older, but I can see that the staff is quite excited about it, which I'm actually pleased about, because they're not feeling that it's a threat, it's here to replace them. They're feeling it's making their work easier, and at the end of the day, they're not quite so tired, so they're a little bit cheerier, still smiley with the you know, patrons that come in. So you can sense that already. So that's what I like about it.
Good. Excellent. Thank you for your time.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll just video from here, goes back to the kitchen.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I can send it a few different places if you'd like.
Send it out into the lounge and then bring it back or something.
Yeah. I can do that. Absolutely. I can send it. Let's see here. I'll just send it right to the middle of the lounge there. And I'll have to see what route it takes, because it just depends. There's two different maps loaded into it, and based on the routes that are available, it will calculate the most direct route to where it's going, based on whichever map I have loaded. And I've got two different ones that serve two different functions. So we will see here. Let's see if get the cell phone app connected. Alright, at the moment, let's just... Yeah, I'll say 132 is where we'll send it to.
Now, each location isn't actually physically numbered, but you know this from...
Yes, that's right. Yes. So we have the floor plan up in our minds. Okay, so it's gonna take the route through the back hallway there. I was wondering if it would go across here, but I forget which map I've loaded at the moment. But anyway, so it's going through the back hallway, and then it's going to come right into the middle of the lounge here. Yeah. So that's it's extremely intuitive. So then, say you've just delivered food there, and then you've got some dirty dishes over here. Well, then I can notice that and say, okay, well, let's bring it over to this table, and we'll.
Here I am.
Bring it over.
Please choose the tray where dishes are
Load it
placed
up.
and enter your table number.
And then I can tell it to just go to our washing.
Please choose
Go to our washing bay. It's just gonna come right by you. It won't hurt. It won't hit you. Actually, I can demonstrate that. Here, I'll stand right here. So it's gonna try. Well, it found its way around me. See? It's smart. It knows how much room it has to work with, and I just stood still and it found its way right around me.
Does it take orders from the bar?
It can.
It can.
Yeah, it has that capability. We haven't used that yet, but I mean, it could certainly serve a function when you get towards the later night and there's less food orders going out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has a serving station. It'll come right to the end of the bar there to await to be loaded there as well as the kitchen pass through. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So.
And the kitchen staff have been quite impressed with it.
Oh yeah. They're always smiling when they see it coming, and it's very well received.
Yeah.
1, 2. Well, I better take my turn. Yeah.
Your food is very hot. Please be careful. Your server will be with you shortly.
Alrighty, gentlemen. Nice tea for each of you. And as soon as it detects that it's been unloaded, 5 seconds later,
Thank you. Bye.
away it goes. Back to what they call the serving port, which is just at the expediter station in the kitchen.
How long does it take to charge up for you?
Less than 3 hours we're finding. Yeah, so right when it gets slow at the end of the day, we'll plug it in for an hour and then we'll unplug it. We don't leave it plugged in overnight. And then when the first prep cook is in the morning, they just plug it in for that extra hour before we're open. And generally, I mean, this morning only that little bit of charging took it up to 100%. So yeah.
All right. Anything to add?
I think we pretty well covered it. No, we're just definitely excited to have the extra tool in our toolbox. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And as you say, it's the very first one.
It was the very first.
Manitoba.
That's right, the very first unit in Manitoba. Yeah. So we're very thrilled to have the very first unit in Manitoba here. Mm-hmm. I think the day after they installed it here, they added a couple in Winnipeg, but we beat them by just a few hours. So we're definitely excited about that.
Does it take very long to install?
The setup took about an hour. Mm-hmm. And then maybe we fine-tuned it a little bit throughout using it. We actively used it that evening. It just began with the technician. He walked it around the whole restaurant. It's equipped with optical scanners and infrared scanners, and it makes a complete three-dimensional map of the entire space, and it knows exactly the dimensions it has to work with. It knows every feature, and the map is incredibly detailed. And then he just, using a desktop software application, lays those tracks that it's allowed to follow, and it will use that space within that track, and it will deviate from it to deal with obstacles such as other human beings. And if it's got enough room to get right around you, it'll go around you. If it if the obstacle is a complete block of, then it will just wait until that obstacle is cleared. So it's incredibly smart. It will not run into a person. It will stop. There's no need to dance around it or get nervous if it's coming at you. I mean, it absolutely will be stopped before it gets to you.
Now, the technician that came, is he local, or does it require somebody from Edmonton?
Yeah, so he was from Edmonton, so he was in Manitoba to get these few units set up and running. And certain needs that may arise can be dealt with over the phone.
Okay.
But if there are greater concerns that arise, then they will send someone out to deal with them. I mean, if we're dealing with a hardware issue, service that needs to be done, or if there was some sort of radical change to the programming that can't be done remotely, they are available and they're standing behind their equipment and able to do that. Yeah.
Now, the technology comes from China, is that correct?
That's right. Yep. It was first developed and deployed there, and I'm not super familiar with its history, how long these particular ones have been in service, but we do know it comes from the Orient. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
It feels itchy. Meow. Your hands are warm. Meow. Love you. Meow.
Nice.